This little purple region down here in the corner is our answer, and this would be what your teacher would expect to see for a correct solution. Hi, in this video I'm going to teach you how to graph systems of inequalities. I made a handout for you. There's a link in the description or up here in the corner. Let's do this. If you have a less than or a greater than sign, you would have a dashed line. If you have a greater than or equal or less than or equal to symbol in the inequality, you're going to have a solid line. For anything where it says y is less than or equal to, you will be shading below. And the opposite, if it's greater than or equal to, you will be shading above. All of this we went over in the last video. I'll pop a link up above and down into the description too. So if you want to go back and review that, you can. All right, let's do example number 1. I got 2 lines here I have to graph, and we're going to go through the same steps we learned about in the last video where you just do them one at a time. We're going to be making solid lines or dashed lines, and we'll be shading above or below. I would use color pencils on this. It can get messy, but definitely use a pencil. We start with y is less than or equal to 1/3 x plus 2. Just looking at this one, just focusing on that, let's graph that line and pretend it's y equals mx plus b. The 2 is our y-intercept and the 1/3 is the slope. So we are going to start by putting that y-intercept of 2 on the graph. We're going to use the slope to find the second point, up 1 over 3. And there is the second point. Now we're going to draw a line. Is this line going to be solid or dashed? You get that from the symbol. This one's going to be solid because it has the or equal to part of it. Now we need to shade above or below. Well, it says y is less than or equal to that. That means you are below. So we want this part. All right, that one is complete. Now we're going to take the second inequality and put it on the exact same graph. The y-intercept is -3, so I'm going to put a dot there. The slope is -4/3, so I'm supposed to go down 4 over 3, and of course I run right off the graph, so we got to go backwards to stay on the graph. Instead of going down 4, I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to back up 3 instead of going forward 3, so the point is there. You should have a negative slope, and this line is going to be going downhill. Now, is this line solid or dashed? Dashed. It doesn't have the little equal to sign. It's just greater than without the little or equal to part. So we have to put a dashed line through that. Y is bigger than that, so we need to be above. The easiest way for me to do it is to look at the y-intercept, and you want to be above that. So we want all this up here. Now the part that is our answer is this overlap. All the points that are in this area will work inside of both of these at the same time. This is the answer. You don't have to go back and erase all your stuff. Just make sure this part is shaded darker. Example 2. X is less than -2. I included this one because these horizontal and vertical lines always show up, and sometimes people forget how to graph them. Well, x -2 is right here, so you have to have a point there. And the line that goes through that is going to be up and down. X equals -2 everywhere along this line. And that line is dashed because this is not less than or equal to, it just says less than. Now, above or below doesn't really make sense here, but you want x to be less than -2. Well, x is less than -2 at -3, -4, 5, so this is the part you shade. All right, the second line. The y-intercept is +1. We're going to put a dot there. Our slope, if you don't see a slope in front of the x, that means the slope is 1. That means you're going to go up 1 over 1, and you will get a second point. This line is not dashed. It's solid because it's less than or equal to. Graph that line, solid. Now, we have to shade it. We don't have an answer until we see where the shading overlaps, and this is y less than. Here's my y-intercept. I go smaller than that, so it's this side. This little purple region down here in the corner is our answer, and this would be what your teacher would expect to see for a correct solution. Example 3. Y greater than or equal to -5x minus 2. Well, we know it's a solid line. We know our y-intercept is -2, so I put a dot here. -5 as a slope means I'm supposed to go down 5 and over 1. Well, of course, I run off the graph, so I got to go backwards again. Go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back up 1, put a dot right there. This still has a slope of -5. You're going down 5 over 1. I just had to do it backwards to make it land on the graph. The line will be solid because of the symbol. above or below? We want to be above. Y is greater than that. So here's my y-intercept. I want the part that's above that. So this is the part of the graph I'm going to shade. We are all done with that first inequality. Let's do y less than 3. On here, that means we have to go to y is 3. That has to be the y-intercept. That's the only thing going on here. Draw the line where all the y's are 3. That's this horizontal line going back and forth. It's going to be dashed, and we want to be below that line. I want y to be 2, 1, everything below that. The section where they overlap is your answer. This is a perfectly wonderful solution, but because I'm on the computer, I can go like that. And we're on to example number 4. Something weird's going to happen here. I am just letting you know that, but it's going to happen in your problem, so I wanted to have an example like this. Let's go ahead and do the first one. The y-intercept is -1. Negative x means the slope is -1. -1 slope is down 1 over 1. And there's the second point. This is a solid line. We want to be above that line, so we're going to shade that part. Now, the second one, -3 is the y-intercept. It also has a slope of -1, so we're going down 1 over 1. What's that called? These lines are, parallel. And this one's going to have a dotted line. Now the shading here is going to make a big difference, because if you shaded below that line, there would be no overlap and you'd have this big white space in between them, and that would be like no solution. But this one, y is greater than, means we are going above, and that's what our graph looks like. So our solution is still the part where they overlap, which is right there. So it's weird. Our solution is basically what you got when you graphed the first inequality, which is cool, but that's the solution. This is what your graph is going to look like. Shade in that overlap a little bit more so your teacher knows you get it. That's the part that is the answer. If you have the handout, you got 4 practice problems you have to do. If you don't, I'm going to show them to you on the screen. Make sure you pause, do the problems. Here we go. Okay, how did you do? Let's check. Okay, here are your solutions for 1 and 2. Pause, check your work. And here are your solutions for 3 and 4. I know you're going to have questions for this. Everybody does. Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.